Welcome to my new channel, Somebody's Backyard Pumpkin Patch. I have been on YouTube for about 10 years, doing pumpkin videos for about that long. If you want to see my old work, I'll put a link below. I'm not going to transfer all those videos to the new channel. It's just too much work. I may transfer some of them eventually, but there's 10 years worth of videos. So I used to do videos more than once a week. So there's a lot of videos there. Matter of fact, I may try to delete some of the very oldest ones, except that one of them has my mother's voice on it, and she's passed away. So I'm still looking for that one. Anyway, this is my Zone 5B garden in the U.S. I grow a lot of things, but I love growing pumpkins. What I do with the pumpkins is donate them to schools and nursing homes and so forth and so on. Also keep a few for Halloween. And of course the neighbors love, when I put a few on the lawn and say take them. I have grown many different pumpkins over the years. Most of them bush pumpkins or short vine pumpkins. There's really no true bush pumpkin. And I started out at another garden, same zone, that had very limited space, and that's why I got into bush pumpkins. This one has more room, but it's still small. It's only about, I'd say 30 feet by about 17 feet, I'm guessing. So it's still very, very small. And I am probably going to stick with mostly bush pumpkins, even though I grow a few long vine pumpkins these days. Right now, what you're looking at, these are called Rival. R-I-V-A-L. And they are sold by Johnny's Seed Supply. This is my first year growing them. As you can see, they're a rounded bush shape. They will vine out, but they start out this way, this round shape. And I'm thinking the vine will be shorter than normal. A normal pumpkin vine is up to 50 feet. These won't get any longer than maybe 10 feet. And over here is the other side of the coin. This is a pumpkin that I bought. I started the rest from seed. This is called First Prize. This is an old-fashioned vining pumpkin. It's supposed to be a Peppo, which is a smaller pumpkin, not tiny. You can get up to, well, they claim 300 pounds with this one. But usually when we think of giant pumpkins, what we're thinking of is the Maxima. And the Maximas are the ones that can get up to 2,000 pounds. This is a Peppo that gets very large, but I'm watching it closely to see if it's really a Peppo. And the reason I said that is that I saw a female blossom on here the other day that looked like a Maxima blossom. Doesn't really make any difference. Maximas are grown a little bit, they're a little more work intensive. Peppos, which are your ordinary jack-o'-lanterns, and also the tiny pumpkins, are not hard to grow at all. Maximas can be a little bit challenging to grow. Now I can't find that female blossom on here, but it appeared yellow. I'll show you a female blossom on one of the rivals, and those are definite Peppos. Or peepos or whatever. Okay, let's see here. I'm getting something, but I'm not sure what this is here. Alright. Am I even focusing on the right thing? Little bit of a problem here with the camera. Let's put it right on top of the subject and see if it... No! That's frustrating. Alright, let's try over here. The camera is not pointing where I'm pointing. So let's see. But anyway, trying to show you a female blossom on a definite Peppo vine. I'm going to go in the other way because the camera is just not picking up where I'm pointing, which is weird. And again, it is Mercury retrograde. This kind of stuff is going to be going on, whether you believe in it or not. Alright, there it is. See that green bulb at the bottom? That's a Peppo female flower. They start out green, they stay green for a while, then they turn orange when they're getting ripe. And like I said, that is the first prize there. That was female blossom I found on that one yesterday. Looked yellow to me. So, let's see here. This is a definite maxima. This is called Big Moose. Big Moose is going to go crawling across the garden this year, the lawn this year, because I've got nowhere else to go with it. So it's not really in the garden, it's outside the garden. And there was a female flower on here the other day, and of course I won't be able to find it. Oh, here. Okay. See that? That yellow bulb? That's what a maxima bulb looks like. There we go. Yeah. They look like they're dying. Because that's what a Peppo bulb looks like when it's dying. Maxima start out yellow, and they stay off color for a good long time too. My big problem this year in the patch is that I usually plant my pumpkins at the south end of the patch because they usually tend to crawl north. This year they're all crawling south except for one. So I'm going to have to urge them to go in another direction because they're going off over a sidewalk, which is because they eventually form roots all along their length. Sidewalks aren't a great place for them to grow. And also there's very little sun over here. So, yeah, I'm going to have to urge them to go another direction. This vine we're looking at here is supposedly rival, but it looks very different from the rest of them, and it bloomed a lot sooner. So I'm not too sure. Not too sure what it actually is. That happens sometimes. Here's another rival that started late. And here's a rival that again looks different from the others, and also it's small. Really, really tiny. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So that'll be our adventure this year, trying to figure that out. And some of the other things I got in the garden here. It's funny starting all over again after 10 years. Okay. Over here, we've got Mexican sour gherkins. They are growing in a container, and they're growing behind some bush cucumbers. I'm trying to urge the bush cucumbers, which will vine out eventually, to go over the side of the container, because cucumbers don't, as far as I've observed, they don't put down roots along their length, so it's not any big deal if they're climbing or falling over or whatever. And what I want the bush cucumbers, like I said, to go over the side, and these little guys, these gherkins, to go up the trellis. A few of them have gotten the idea, but the rest of them are kind of going all over the place. So some training to do there. I also have some sunflowers. That is going to be Pikes Peak sunflower. And behind there you can see some potatoes that have bloomed, and so now they're going to come to the end of their season and start dying back. I let them bloom I understand in the home garden you're supposed to pinch the blossoms off, but the thing is we have no bees that I've seen this year in the backyard. We're having a few in the front yard, and nothing got pollinated, so I don't see what the problem is. But I don't see any lumps in the soil, so that could be an issue. Could be that we will not get any potatoes because I didn't take the blossoms off. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Usually at this point I'm seeing lumps in the soil. And that is Beefmaster, my lone tomato plant this year, growing in a container. That is a regular old bell pepper, and these are orchid peppers here that I grew from seed. That is an eggplant. And over there is kaleette, which is a cross between kale and broccoli. And actually kale isn't natural either, so it's a cross between a lot of things. And there's another orchid pepper. And these things here are climbing spinach, which supposedly taste as good in hot weather as they do in cool weather. So we shall see. Because I know most lettuce gets very bitter in hot weather. This lettuce here came up on its own, and I'll let it go to seed again, because it did it last year and did it the year before. All this stuff came up by itself. This was planted this year, so. Alright. And another thing I show you quite frequently are my roses. This is Music Box. Music Box is blooming quite a bit, but not having a stellar year. I'm going to have to work on it a little. We had a really rough winter here, 30 below at one point, and it stayed below zero for 48 hours or whatever it was. And most of the plants around here are not designed for that. So there was these roses that remain actually died back to the ground, but they all came back with a vengeance. So I only lost one to the weather, and that was this one that was a Zone 6B rose. And over here we have Grand Champion, which I've been saying on my other channel is a weed. Nothing bothers this rose. Absolutely nothing bothers it. And here we have a rose that died 2 years ago. It's called Bellaroma, and it's suddenly trying to come back. And I'm suspecting that what we get, if we get any flowers, is not going to be Bellaroma. It's going to be whatever the rootstock was for Bellaroma. So, but it's really making an effort, so I'll let it try. And this is Quietness, which also had a really good comeback this spring from the bad weather. And we have the Fairy. Oh, this is a fairy that planted itself in the lawn, so I moved it over here. And here's the fairy going absolutely crazy with blossoms. And over here we have Dr. Robert Corn, which is a shade rose. There we go. Not really pretty, but it does give a little bit of color back in this corner. So, there's my intro to my new channel. I hope you stick around. I hope you subscribe and like. And I'll see you next week. Take care.